What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Bold Business. I'm your host, Philip Michael, and I'm joined here today with the CEO of Bold TV, David Grasso. David, what's up?
Way more boring than you, but I'm here. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for putting this all together. Now, we're here to talk about the trends as usual. And trend number one, Robinhood is back in the news for two reasons this week. The good news is they made their initial public offering filing public, finally. Meaning they're going public, right? And they revealed that the stock trading app gained 6 million new users this year despite the outrage over their limiting Gamestop stock. In bad news for Robinhood, however, the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority announced that it agreed on a $70 million settlement to be paid out to thousands of users. The platform has to pay out because it caused, and I quote, significant harm to millions of customers who received false or misleading information from the firm, millions of customers affected by the firm's system outages in March 2020, and thousands of customers the firm approved to trade options even when it was not appropriate for the customers to do so. End quote. David, what do you make of this?
Oh, well, they would have gotten away with it if it weren't for these meddling kids, to quote Scooby-Doo. All the kids were upset because they couldn't, buy stock that they wanted to buy. And funny enough, it wasn't just Robinhood. A lot of brokerages did it, and somehow Robinhood was the only one that got fined. So basically, if you didn't catch up on this, GameStop was a popular stock because of a Reddit thread called wallstreetbets, and everyone tried to buy the stock at the same time, and Robinhood stopped it, which I believe the whole point of the stock market is to buy whenever you want, but maybe I'm mistaken.
Right, but the thing is, you touched on a very important point. There's 2 points I want to touch on here also. Is one, that Robinhood, as the market leader, they took all the heat, even though everyone else had to be, they had to.
I'm pretty sure Charles Schwab cut them off.
Yes, they had.
I don't want to name anyone else, but yeah.
It was industry wide. And the second point is, of course, the younger generation, millennials and Gen Z are getting into investing, but the flip side is all the stuff that comes with it. Doubling down on crazy stocks, getting into crazy cryptocurrencies that may not have any type of underlying value, but just because of the popularity, it just tends to blow up. What do you make of that whole trend?
I think it's a dangerous trend, honestly, because most investments should be long-term. So you and I more believe in that. We believe in real estate. You and I bought homes during this. You bought a building. I bought my own house. I feel like it's real. I can touch it.
Of course.
And I feel like a lot of these short-term buys are speculative.
Yes.
And it's casino-type behavior.
It is.
Yeah. So they kind of missed Vegas. So they were at home buying GameStop stock. So it's literally like a game. And we have to be careful with that because it has real-world consequences.
Exactly. They gamified it, and it has those consequences. I know we're not financial advisors, but is there anything, you say you like real estate, long-term investments, that is the key. Is there anything that you would like to say to people who are watching, particularly of this generation, who may be caught up in the hype and the glitz and glamour of the crypto, of the short term, of the roulette type of investment behavior? Anything there?
It's really simple. Because of inflation and compound interest, as long as you put money in something that's safe, which is typically the stock market, industrials, whatnot, I don't want to make investment recommendations.
Sure, of course.
Ask your advisor about this. But over time, you're always going to recover, and don't check it every day.
Right.
Investments are supposed to be long-term. If you have a 401k, which is money that you save for retirement, or if you just have some money laying around, throw it in, and 10 years from now, you'll probably have a lot more money.
And your future self will thank you for doing it today. Now,
saving has real-world consequences, and you can tell, especially if you have, your friends, parents are better off than yours. They probably saved a lot more money in the 90s.
And talk about someone who made his investments right. Jeff Bezos has invited another guest on his Blue Origin flight at the end of the month, which is not exactly investment related, but interesting nonetheless. He's taken Wally, a female pilot who wasn't allowed to be an astronaut in the 1960s because she's a woman. Now she's living her dream of going to space later this month. Isn't that awesome, David?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that is something.
I mean, the best news ever. I mean, talk about, righting a historical wrong. So this poor lady was trained as part of a team of astronauts, right? Female astronauts. And they were going to launch them into space. And then they were like, oh, no, just kidding. There's a picture of them, right? And then they were like, oh, you know what? Never mind. The patriarchy's too rough. So we're going to deny you boarding and going. So she never got to go to space. And, in fact, she bought a ticket on Richard Branson's Virgin Galactic flight, but she's so far down the waiting list that, of course, the CEO of Amazon/Blue Origin called her and said, hey, can I give you a ride before Richard does? So it's a really fun story.
Wow, and Bezos still hasn't revealed the last passenger who paid $28 million for their trip to space in an auction last month. So we'll see who gets to take a trip to space soon with, of course, the pilot who gets to live her dream.
I mean,
astronaut, rather.
I mean, let's, yay, progress, right?
Exactly. Now, speaking of progress, the NCAA finally clears student athletes to pursue name, image, and likeness deals. Basically, this means students who make a lot of money for their school and team can earn money for themselves by accepting endorsement deals with companies like Nike, Gatorade, and more. The debate around the issue has gone on for a while, with people on the opposition saying the athletes are there for sports and school and shouldn't be sensationalized. But thanks to a ton of outside pressure, the NCAA has finally waived the rule. David, this is a controversial issue, and there's so many ways you can take this, but what are your thoughts?
It's not controversial at all. All of these universities have been making money for generations.
They've been milking them.
They've been milking them, all under the guise of academic rigor and whatnot. You know,
I call BS.
Yeah, I call BS too, and I think this is way overdue. This doesn't have to be like the NFL. They don't need $20 million. They need enough money to make ends meet. And we know a lot of these athlete stories. They're disproportionately from poorer communities. They're disproportionately from minority communities, and they need money now. They can't play the whole, oh, we're going to go to college and we're going to wait. They end up skipping college. And that's very bad for collegiate athletics. So I feel like this is a positive development. Hopefully we don't go too far the other way and turn college football into just, a completely for revenue business. But I think this is way overdue.
Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of these athletes, they have families that are depending on them, or at least looking forward to be depending on them years down the line. And if they can make some money now, and especially with the TV money that's out there, these universities are getting, come on, it's about time they get a piece of the action just a little bit.
And it's such a poorly kept secret, Philip, that football programs are really what fund universities. So in Florida, where I'm from, University of Florida and Florida State University, football. Football is what drives the university, and never forget that. So why can't these kids who are working really hard and are really dedicated make some money right now off their likeness? I feel like that's their right.
Long overdue, and I think it's great that they've done it. Now, in another piece of news that is probably a little personal to myself, my company, NYCE, is joining forces with tZERO, an alternative trading platform where we will offer our common stock on the public markets in a blockchain-powered IPO. I almost got tongue-tied there. Now, if subject to completion, NYCE investors who invested in our company last year could double their money in the first significant crowdfunding exit since the Jobs Act bill passed in 2016. Now, obviously, David, one of the things that we share is our mission and passion to, of course, empower people through access, through information, through just giving people the tools that we have had the benefit of learning through networks and experience and things of that nature to bring it out to the masses. And this is one of the things that makes me the most proud, because my mission is, of course, we have this raging wealth gap in the country right now. Me coming from Denmark, I see the benefits. I'm not saying we should have a welfare system like we have there, but I've seen the benefits of everyone going to sleep with a belly full. So my mission, of course, was to, look, let's give people the tools to create micro welfare systems, if you will. Go out there, learn how to make money, secure your financial future, learn to build wealth, pass that down to your children, and that way create this mutation of prosperity, money, if you will. So that's one of the things.
Well, culture is infectious, right? So when you and I get together, we talk a lot about money.
Yes, we do.
Investments and whatnot. And, I was aware that your company was going public. It's big news around here. And, never mind the specifics of that. I think it's a culture that thinks about the future and thinks about putting money in different places and placing different bets that have long-term effects. Yeah, so it's thinking about the future.
Thinking about the future. And I'd love to put you on the spot here too, David, because we have a lot of these conversations privately. What is it that drives you with this big mission you have? Because you run a substantial, significant media corporation in 2021 where not a lot of people can actually do that, let alone do it well. What is it that drives you to do that?
I think it's really the idea that something's wrong with media and that we need to experiment with different types of content and different types of viewpoints all on the same platform. I feel like political extremism is being driven by media, and I think it's a fundamental belief in that we need media that represents us, and that's what we're looking for. It's basically the world is messy, the truth is messy, and we need to bring all those viewpoints to the table.
When it's messy, that means there's nuance, there's perspectives.
It's entertaining.
That too.
The extremism to me is actually not entertaining, but I guess I'm in the minority right now because if you turn on, cable news, you would think that, most people in the United States are either extreme left or extreme right. Or, very rural or very urban. And most Americans are moderates, they're suburban, they are hardworking. This is a great country, and we need media that represents the greatness of this country.
And at the end of the day, no matter what your viewpoint is, people are human beings at the end of the day and just want to be heard and have their voices heard. And I try my best, behind what you're creating for us to give people a voice, or at least to present some of the information you give to them.
And back when we were growing up, Philip,
Yes,
and we're a little over the hill, we didn't talk about politics, right? We didn't. I don't think I've ever cornered you and asked you what your political opinions are. We've known each other for 4 or 5 years now. Exactly. So, it's one of those things that I want to return to the time where, whoever's on this show next, I don't care whether they're liberal or conservative or gay or straight, black, white, or Hispanic. I'm interested in what they have to say.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's it. And I'm tired of all the tribalism in society, and we're trying to bring this back to where we were when I was growing up, and now I sound like an old person, so I'm going to stop there.
Right, but it's all about inclusion.